It's the Gold Mike Podcast, where the mic is gold, and this is a podcast. I'm your host, Mark Paul, and today we got part 3 of the Tory Lanez evidence. All right, in my last video that I'm going to go ahead and link it right here, right now, right there. In my last video, I was talking about the interview that Kelsey Harris did with the prosecutors about what happened the early morning, July 12, 2020. And I got to the point where Kelsey explained Tory Lanez shooting Megan, basically, right? And at the end of the video, I talked about why Kelsey decided to make a statement to the prosecutors. So after all of the tests, came back, it came back that Kelsey Harris actually had gunpowder residue on her. Ooh. Does that mean she shot Megan Thee Stallion? No. That doesn't mean she shot Megan Thee Stallion. So, in this video, we're going to listen to the second half of Kelsey speaking to the prosecutors. So let's get it.
I'm short. I'm 4'11". The vehicle is kind of a little raised up higher than me, so I can't really see. I can only see from her chest up. That's all I can see. But the way Tory was angling the gun is kind of like, it wasn't like straight. It was like, down. It was down.
So Tory was leaning outside of the vehicle, an up-high vehicle, shooting down to the ground. Shooting down to the ground. This is what Kelsey Harris, this is an eyewitness of what happened. She is an eyewitness. She said that Tory Lanez was out the window shooting downward. Don't you guys think that is consistent with her walking away and why she caught the shells or the bullet fragments in the back of her foot? Don't you guys think that's consistent with how that happened? I hear a lot of people talking about, they were shooting in the air. They were shooting in the air, and what goes up must come down. But that's just not how guns work. Yeah, what goes up will come down. But if you shooting in the air, if you busting in the air, it's not going to hit you in the back of the heel. I'm sorry. That just defies logic, physics, common sense. But you got people really pushing that narrative that, he was shooting in the air. He was shooting, he was shooting all wildly. But Kelsey's saying that he was hanging out of a lifted car, shooting downward. Meaning he probably wasn't really trying to really bust on her. He probably wasn't. He just didn't know how guns work. Stupid idiot. Anybody know if you shoot directly to the ground, it's gonna break open the bullets and the bullet, and it's gonna just go everywhere. Like common sense. But let's continue.
Her direction? Definitely in her direction. In the air, definitely in her direction. So at that point, we kind of were in shock,
Did you hear him say anything as he was shooting?
He did not say anything.
Okay.
There was no words at that point,
Yeah, how you gonna hear somebody say anything as they shooting? All you hear is pow, 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 pow. But okay.
What was Quan doing? Could you tell?
I think everybody was in shock.
Okay, so he wasn't.
He wasn't
part
even
of it.
at this point right here. He wasn't part of this. What I'm about to get into next. I can't tell you guys where Tory pulled the gun from. Like I said, the motion when he first threatened me was middle console, but I don't know if that's where the gun was.
But you had said he referenced shooting y'all earlier while you're in the car, right?
He threatened to shoot me.
As if he had a gun
Correct.
in his control somewhere.
Correct.
Sucker shit.
And so after the shots rang, it was, like I said, 5 shots. We kind of froze. And by the time I get back into, I snap, Megan had either crawled or walked or limped over to, she's in a driveway. She's in a driveway on the side of the driver's side. She's in a driveway. Tory sits down.
In the front passenger seat?
In the front passenger seat.
Okay.
All right, so after shooting downward towards the ground, hitting Megan Thee Stallion in the foot, he sits his little tiny booty in the front seat all comfortably, basically. But let's go ahead. Let's continue.
He's sitting. I guess just kind of shocked also. So I run over to her. I immediately ran to her. You know, she's the forefront of my thoughts. My job as a friend in general is just like naturally to protect my friend, protect. So now.
So she is saying after all of this happened and everybody was shocked and they was just like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And when she came to, she ran to Megan's aid. This is what she is saying. And remember, this is part of the evidence, people. Her saying this was part of the evidence. This is why we're listening to this right now, because it was part of the evidence. This was part of the evidence. She ran to her friend's aid, as she should have. She should have came to her aid. That's what friends are for, right? Friends don't shoot you in the foot for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Friends don't do that. If a friend shoots you in the foot, there's a reason behind it, right? We have yet to find the reason on why would Kelsey shoot Megan in the foot. And if she actually did it, why is she making up this quite believable story? And I guarantee you all 12 jurors believe this story. You got to be a dumb fool not to believe this story. It sounds believable. It don't sound like something that just somebody just conjured up in their mind and was like, oh, this is a good idea. This is what actually happened, people, and you guys need to accept it. But let's go.
The defense mode on the behalf of Megan. I ran to her. She's on the floor. I never looked at her feet. I never really just got to look at her. I just know when I ran to her and she grabbed me, she had blood. So in my head, she had got shot because shots just went off and she's bleeding. That's what I think. So I see Tory coming around the vehicle. It's dark, lights are flat, hitting him. It's almost like a scary scene. So again, I'm in defense mode. I see him coming around the vehicle, and in my head, I'm thinking he's about to come over here and attack us.
Mm-hmm. Do you see whether or not when he's coming around the vehicle, if he still has the gun?
I don't believe he had the gun.
Okay.
So like I said, I just thought he was coming over to attack us. So I stepped in between where he was coming to where Megan was, and at that point, that's when the assault between me and him happened. He assaulted me.
So wait a minute. Let's put this all in perspective, because this is a part that none of the Tory Lanez dick riders are talking about. None of his supporters are talking about this. So you mean to tell me, this is what Kelsey is saying, this is part of the evidence, this is what the jurors heard. The jurors obviously believe this to be true. So you mean to tell me that after shooting Megan Thee Stallion, he approached them. Kelsey gets up and gets defensive. Like, hold on, don't walk up on my homegirl after you done something like that. Right? And he assaults her. So why isn't DJ Akademiks, Milagro Gramz, Lawyer for Hires, why isn't they talking about this conflict that Tory Lanez and Kelsey had? Why nobody is speaking about this? Kelsey said that after Tory shot Megan, he approached them. She comes to Megan's defense. And you mean to tell me Tory Lanez start beating Kelsey up? Well, let's continue.
And Quan then comes he just comes and he picks me up like a little doll. And he's like, Kelsey, they do this all the time. And I said, huh? She's bleeding. She's been shot. I don't know if y'all know she's shot. By that time, he's already to where Megan's at. So, I I don't know what goes on in that driveway.
Who comes towards Megan? Is that Quan or Tory?
So initially, Tory comes,
Yeah.
and that's where I stepped in, and we had an altercation. He physically assaulted me, and then Quan came and separated him from
What
me.
exactly did he do when he was assaulted?
Okay, so that makes sense. So when Tory Lanez and Kelsey got into the fight, they got into a physical altercation. They got into a fight after Tory Lanez shot Megan. So after Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion, Kelsey Harris, which is her friend, got into a physical altercation with Tory Lanez. And I'm going to ask you people to use your brain. Use your brain on this. What I'm about to tell you guys is going to require you to use your brain. So all of this talk about Megan and Kelsey having a fight, and Kelsey having gunshot residue on her, could it be, and you got to use your brain on this one, could it be that during the physical altercation with Tory Lanez, after he shoots Megan Thee Stallion, the physical altercation that Kelsey and Tory Lanez had after Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion, you guys don't think that's how she got the gunshot residue on her? Like, just use your brain, people. Use your brain. That's all you gotta do. The test showed that both Tory and Kelsey had gunshot residue on them. Quan didn't have gunshot residue on him. So only them two tested positive for it. You got Megan Thee Stallion saying Tory Lanez shot her. You have her best friend, Kelsey Harris, saying Tory Lanez shot her. And we're not even going to talk about the other witness, Sean Kelly, that probably can't get his story straight. We're going to just leave him out. Let's rely on what we're working with here. We're not even going to talk about Sean Kelly saying that he's seen the short guy shoot. We're not even going to include him into this, because Tory Lanez's witness himself did say he saw the short man shoot. He said this, but we're not going to worry about this. Let's worry about what we're talking about right now. That they had a physical altercation, Kelsey and Tory Lanez, because Kelsey was trying to defend Megan because she thought that Tory was going to continue to assault her as he did with that gun. So she came to her defense. They had a physical altercation. Y'all don't think that's how she got the gunpowder residue on her? Come on, people. Like I said, it's going to require you to use your brain. And there's a lot more evidence out there about this. There's a lot more, but we don't need that much. Remember, I told you in part one, we just need a little bit of evidence, a little bit of stone cold evidence to convict somebody. And y'all don't think that this is stone cold evidence? You guys are still in denial about the verdict? Come on, people. Just use your brain. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and end this segment like this. Part 3 being hopefully the last time I talk about this. Because it's a shame how many people are literally spreading all types of nothings about this. All types of good nothings about this. All on Tory's side for no reason. Because they can't fathom the fact that he shot this girl in the foot. And I'm like, it's quite obvious why he shot the girl in the foot. You know? He was too fucking drunk. He said it himself. None of this would have happened if he wasn't that drunk. And what happened, happened. It doesn't change his actions. This is all the things that he said out of his mouth. Not to mention him saying himself from his Instagram account that Kelsey Harris did not shoot Megan. He said this himself on his Instagram when somebody said Kelsey shot Megan. He made it his business to comment back and say that's not true. So somebody saying Kelsey shot Megan. You got Tory Lanez coming through saying that's not true. Kelsey didn't shoot Megan. What do you mean? That's preposterous. But yet we still got people in denial. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end it like this. I might do a part 4. I might not. We'll see. But it's the Gold Mike Podcast, where the mic is gold, and this is a podcast. I'm your host, Mark Paul, and I'm out.